In 6.4b, we are now going to find something called the linear regression, a line of linear regression. So I need to make sure you understand what it is that we are trying to find, what it is and how to find it. But before we do that, I need you to write down the line of best fit. Line of best fit. So in 6.4, I'm going to put that in parentheses here, you had to find the line of best fit. You had to find a line that was going through as many points as you could find. And what I want you to know about the line of best fit is that this was an approximation. The line of best fit was, let's draw a line through these points, and then let's find the equation of the two lines, because it just mattered on the 2 points you picked. If you pick 2 of the outside points, you might get one line of best fit. If you pick 2 middle points, you might find a different line of best fit. It's an approximation. It is the closest we can get by picking 2 points. Okay? The closest we can get by picking 2 points. It's the closest we can get. Man, my handwriting really needs work. I'm sorry. The closest we can get by picking 2 points. When we go to what we're doing today, linear regression, linear regression is the most mathematically accurate line of best fit. Linear regression is the most mathematically accurate line of best fit. When I think about what you had to do on 6.4, we literally were looking at 2 points and we go, well, I'm going to pick this one and this one. Well, if we picked a different one, we would have had a slightly different line of best fit. Is there a way for us to find the most accurate line of best fit as possible? Yes, it's called the linear regression. So what we're going to learn how to do today is how to do linear regression on our calculators. And what we have to know before we do a linear regression on our calculators is that our calculator is set up slightly different than the way we normally write things, okay? So for a linear regression, this is how we write things. Y equals mx plus b. Let's write that down, because you know you need to replace the m and you need to replace the b. That's what you're used to. Thank you. Isaiah, this is for right now. Grab your stuff. You're heading to the front office. You can come grab this pass and then rock and roll. So you are used to y equals mx plus b. You are used to the equation of line of best fit, you're finding a slope and a y-intercept, and that's what you're used to. Our calculators are going to do something slightly different. It looks like this. Y equals A plus BX. And I'm going to put calculators right here. Because I'm going to show you how to do this on the calculators we have in this classroom. If you have a different model of calculator, I may not be able to help you because I only know the Casio model that I have in here, and that's the reason why it's the reason why I recommend it on your syllabus to use this calculator, because I'm only going to show you with the calculator that I have. Okay? So, the calculators that I have are the Casios. This works for the 300 or the 115 ES and so on. Okay? So, this is what it's going to work for. What I have to know is, up here, M is the slope because it's in front of your X, right? What's your slope on the calculator when we use the calculator model? What's in front of our X? Big B. So I have to know that big B is the slope. In the linear regression, what is our y-intercept that we are used to for this top one right here? What's our y-intercept? No. Little b, good. So these two things are how we're used to writing it. The b is the thing being added to that slope and the x. So what is being added to the slope and the x on our calculator? What's our y-intercept? What letter? A. So I have to teach you that big B is your slope and little a, or big A, is your y-intercept for our calculator. That's the hardest part. Okay? So I'm going to do an example for 6.4b, and we're going to do our first example together. This will be like number one. Number one has meal and tip. Little table. The first meal costs $4.75. I don't know where we're at. That's pretty cheap for a meal. And 50 cents was the tip. Second meal was $6.84. And these all have dollar signs in front of them, but I'm not going to write that. The second tip was 90 cents. The third one was $12.52. And $1.50. The fourth meal was $20.42 and $3 for the tip. Let me scoot this up because I see a lot of you bobbing and weaving your heads. There we go. Meal is that, $20.42 and $3. Here's our last one, is $8.97, and the tip was $1. What we could do is we could plot these and make a approximation of the line of best fit, but I don't want to do the approximation or line of best fit. I want to find the most mathematically accurate of all of these. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to find the most mathematical linear regression line that I can find. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to punch this in on our calculator under the stat mode. So here's what I have to press. On these calculators, I have to press mode. So I'm going to literally have you write this down. The first thing I put in is I press mode. and I choose number 3, stats. You see how it says stat right there? That's what we're going to choose, number 3. Now, what I choose after the stat menu is I need to choose the one that's set up in the appropriate way. I need to choose the one that has the A plus BX. For me, that's number 2. A plus BX is the one I'm choosing because that's set up in that way. 2. And then what it has is we have 2 columns. We have an X and a Y column. So you have to know which one is your X and which one is your Y. Which one depends on the other. Does the meal cost depend on how much tip there is? Or does how much tip there is depend on how much the meal cost? Do you know? Which one is dependent? Meal or tip? Tip depends on your meal cost. If it depends on it, it's your Y coordinate. You have to make that decision. X is your meal. So what does that mean now? See how my calculator is? I have the X and the Y. I have to punch in a bunch of numbers into my X's. I need to punch in this as an X, this as an X, that as an X, that as an X, that as an X. So then I am going to enter data for my X values. That's what I do next. I'm going to punch in 475, 684. Watch me. 4.75. Enter. Let me make sure you can see that. 475. You see how that's entered in there? The next number I'm going to punch in is what number? 6.84. Enter. There's my first one. There's my second one. Which one? Yeah, so once I push 12.52, I press the equals button, and then it enters it in. Then I have to punch in 20.42, enter, 8.97, enter. And I look, and it tells me I have 5 numbers in, and does that match? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that what I'm supposed to have? Okay, so now I'm almost ready for the 6th number because it will let me punch in as many numbers as I want. But I have to punch in the Y values next. Enter data for the Y values. Now how do I get there? I'm going to have to use this big circle button, and I'm going to have to press down or right. Let me press down. And guess what? When I press down, it moves me to the top of the list. But I need to go in and punch in my Y values, so I need to go to the next column. I press the right arrow there. You see how I'm ready to enter my first Y value? What do I type in? 0.5. Do I have to put the 0 in 0.50? Okay, so I'm just going to put 0.5. What's the next one I have to punch in? So you understand what I'm punching in? 1.5. 3, I don't need to put in 3.00, or I can type in 1, enter. If as soon as I have all my information in, just like I do right now, there's all my information. What I'm going to press might confuse you because you're trained that it does something different. You are going to now press AC. AC. You're going to press the all clear button. AC stands for all clear, by the way. And you were taught Mr. Paromo's class. Yes? I'm lecturing. Bye. Okay. So moving forward. The all clear button doesn't get rid of that information. If you look right up here, do you see how it says stats? That means you have stats stored inside that 2-column. It has information in there. So now what we're going to press, now that we're in this menu, is we're going to press Shift Stat. Shift Stat. Now when I say Shift, let me make sure the F is there. Otherwise it doesn't look good. Okay, press Shift Stat. This is the stat, the one above the number 1 key. You see that stat right there? We're going to perform some statistical analysis on that information. Shift number 1. Shift Stat, which I'm going to put as number 1 right there on my notes. And what we're doing is we're doing regression. Regression number 7. So then I'm going to go to number 7 on regression. And guess what I have choices to find? I can find my correlation coefficient, which you've learned how to do already. You've learned what A stands for in A plus BX. You now know what B is. So literally, let's write down what the B is first, number 2. And look on my calculator, it says B, and I press enter, and it gives me a number. Then I'm going to choose B, and B stands for your slope. My slope is 0.15693733164. It's going to figure out, hang on, it's going to figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 digits of the slope. We're going to round. Let's make it easy on ourselves. Okay? Let's go to the nearest hundredths place. Right here. Tenths, hundredths. 0.16. Approximately. We're rounding right now. Okay? Scoot that up. You were going to ask a question, Junior?
Never mind.
Okay, hang on, then we'll come back. What else do I need to find? I need to find A. How do I get there? Shift, Stat, same thing. Number 7. I want to find the A value, number 1. Enter. The A value is negative 0.2992292.856. That's the most mathematically accurate it could come up with. We're going to round. This is your y-intercept. 0.29. I want to go to this place. What does this round to? If I look at that, 0.3 what? You should actually put 0.30 because that lets you know you're rounding to this place, by the way. Since that rounds that up and that moves that one up, 0.30, so we're going to the hundredths place. And, oh, don't forget, it's negative, so put that negative symbol there. And the last thing we do now, here's the last thing we do. What's the equation? Y equals mx plus b, right? What was the m? What's our slope? 0.16x. What's our b? This is called the linear regression. It is the most mathematically accurate way to find the line of best fit. You can use it to make a prediction. Matter of fact, this is what it says. It says, if somebody pays $10.50, what do you think the tip is going to be? If someone paid $10.50, what is the tip going to be? Or what is the tip expected is what it says. Well, guess what? We know. X stood for our meal. Can we plug in $10.50 into this equation and make a prediction? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in or put in y equals 0.16, and now I'm going to plug in 1050 for my x to make a prediction minus 0.30. And I can do that on my calculator. Let me see if it will let me. 0.16 times 10.5 minus 0.3. And guess what it gives me? What tip should be expected? $1.38. And that's pretty darn close to what I got before. Okay? What you are going to have to do, the reason why these notes are like this is because you really have to know how to be able to follow these steps to input your data. We're going to stop our notes right there.